Well, hello there. Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are. Let me fiddle with this a little bit and see if I can be... Nope. That's all fine and well. Hello, everybody. Happy Christmas Eve, or Merry Christmas, if it is Christmas there where you are. Welcome to my kitchen for the December baking stream. Hope your holidays are filled with all of the things. I would like to thank, let's see, we had Dreadnought Girl with a 19-month resub, a baking stream, I love these. Albardo had a 17-month resub, happy Feast of Wintervale, and a merry bloop bloop to everyone here. Amun with an 8-month resub, thank you very much, and Marmo with a 19-month resub. Hello, guys. I'm thirsty. Sometimes I misplace my water bottle for like just a couple hours in the day, but I always know when I've done it because I start, you need that. Are you ready for a Christmas gift? I can look at it on my phone. I can pull up Discord on my phone, but in the kitchen, I don't have like a keyboard in front of me. I gotta spin around the desk for that. But if that is sufficient for you, it's sufficient for me. I do have Discord hooked up to my phone. Deer hat? Yeah, this is, I'm wearing my Alliance holiday sweater. I'm wearing some antlers. That's about as festive as we're getting, although we are making gingerbread. So World of Warcraft cookbook on page 169, and I am going to try to dive right into getting the dough made, because the gist of what's going to happen, we're going to make the cookie dough, we're going to chill it. The book wants me to chill it for an hour. I'm going to chill it for like a half an hour in the freezer and then call it good. And then once we've baked them, they need to cool before we decorate them, and I'll fill you in on the decorating situation shortly. It's underwhelming, so get your hopes down rather than up. Samur Dirac with a 2-month resub, thank you very much. Also Zephyrus with a 13-month resub, yes, baking stream, and Wildmole with a 7-month resub. So I am going to need butter, which I have remembered. So 1 point to me for preparation. I took the butter and the eggs out early because you want them to be room temperature for this. However, I'm going to get docked further points for preparation later on in this process, as you will see. But we have the basics. We got butter. I am going to need... That wasn't quite as smooth as I wanted it to be, but that's my fault for not mounting that thing, the bowl on the thing before I get started. You just gotta really mean it, and sometimes I'm not really in the mood for the loud noise. Alright, so we're gonna need... I'm just gonna get all my ingredients on the counter. I would have done that ahead of time, but then I forgot. Butter, brown sugar, eggs. So I'm gonna need brown sugar, freshly grated ginger. Oh, I might actually be able to do that. Usually I see that and I just go, and I like go for the powdered ginger because fastidiousness, overachieving is not really my thing when it comes to the kitchen anyways. There are some areas of my life where I can be inspired to be a perfectionist or competitive. Baking, not so much. Usually it's just a bunch of things that you have to do before you get to eat the thing. So any extra steps that I deem to be not worthy usually just get kind of left behind. Did you get the deer ears from doing Covenant? I am an imposter Night Fae. I am unfortunately not like an actual Night Fae, but I think they might let me in just based on the antlers. Alexander, thanks for the 11-month resub, and Podioda with a brand new sub. Welcome to the Scroll Squad. Gift is in the Share Your Art channel. Okay, I'm gonna take a look. Dances painted a miniature, I believe, is what I'm looking for here. And then we have a Discord, which we can, there should be a Discord link in chat if you type !Discord, and it should be in the art channel. Let me see. Squirrel Squad. Plants, pets, art. Come on, Wi-Fi, you can do it. I'm at home. I'm at home. Goodness, I can see the likes on them. Oh, there we go. If I click into them, I can see them. There's a kitty warrior. This is gonna be the worst image. Just look it up on actual Discord if you want to see it. There's a kitty warrior. There's oh, I love it. Oh, that's so good. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas. That is both adorable and kind of terrifying, which I imagine is how the cat would want to be perceived. The Kronovich, thank you very much for the bits. Welcome. Okay, we got butter, eggs, I found flour, I found brown sugar. Did I decide that I do have ginger. Incidentally, not intentionally, but I accidentally had fresh ginger, so I may as well, mess some of this up for the sake of throwing it in the cookies. We'll do that. We are also going to need vanilla molasses, baking soda, so baking soda over here, and then vanilla over here. Molasses is in this one. A little low, I'll probably throw the rest of that in there, that's all fine. And then we'll need salt and holiday spices, which they want me to pre-mix. I've not done that, but I'm going to go look at what's in them and then use just the stuff, is how I usually go about that. So I'm looking for one more thing. Salt. Salt is this one. And then holiday spices. The fun thing about the WoW Cookbook, or one of the fun things about the WoW Cookbook, Hyperion, for the 2-month resub, finished my Christmas cake for tomorrow, Madeira base with an apricot glazed chocolate butter icing, decorated to look like a log cabin. Hope you have a fantastic day tomorrow and enjoy eating all the treats you bake. That sounds magnificent. That sounds amazing. Also, Vin Amanda, thank you very much for giving out a gift sub, and Brass Gorilla, thanks for the 2-month resub. So fun thing about the WoW Cookbook, they have like these proprietary spice mixes. They have like ancient Pandaren spices, you have holiday spices, autumnal herbs, and it's asking you to pre-combine things, different lists of spices, and then have them on hand, and then you use them in different recipes. So the Pandaren spices are Szechuan peppercorns, fennel seeds, cinnamon, anise, cloves, and cardamom in a certain like ratio, and then they call for just like teaspoons of that mixture in recipes like the spiced blossom soup, the palm fruit slices, and the rice pudding. So kind of like a fun thing for the book, and then also you can feel like you've got like some WoW spices in your cupboard. I've never done this because lazy. But the holiday spices that are called for here involve ginger, cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, and pepper, and of course that's what I always use anyways. The ginger, cinnamon, and nutmeg are in equal proportions, and then cloves are in a much smaller, like half cloves to one part of the rest of those, and then just like a little bit of pepper. So what I'm feeling is I need, how much do I need for this? Two teaspoons of holiday spices. So if I was going to go a little, well, we're also using fresh ginger on top of those things, so it's going to be ground and fresh ginger. So I'm feeling just like for a batch of cookies, like a teaspoon of each, half teaspoon of cloves, and like some pepper, and we'll call that good. That should be roughly on point. You know, measuring in detail is for people that like Christmas, which I used to, and maybe one day I will again. Love these streams, they always make me so hungry. Eating cinnamon rolls, drinking mulled wine, how fancy. I should make some tea. I'm worried that I'm gonna get overly warm. I last minute changed out of my super warm pants because I could feel that standing up was going to overheat me rapidly. All right, so butter, sugar, egg, spices. I'm just gonna yellow the spices in. Molasses, dry ingredients. Let's mix the dry ingredients together. I need 2 cups of flour. And while I know I've just said about 4 times how lazy I am going to weigh it, but only because I have memorized that a cup of all-purpose flour is approximately 120 grams, and then bread flour is like 125, and you don't have to worry about leveling scoops when you're weighing it. You can just kind of like whoof it in there, and then when you get to the right amount, you're good. So I guess I have to put this down. Yeah, it wants me to put it down, good. And then we're going for 240 grams, I think. I'll check the amount again. 200... Did it say 2 cups? Yeah, 2 cups of all-purpose. That's going to be approximately 240 grams. So we're going to reset that. And then the thing that I like to do, I've been doing this quite a bit when I make bread lately, is I just kind of like flumph until I get like kind of close. And then I can take a spoon and kind of do the rest of it. That's 238 because I am a magician. 239, I could just go with that. I'm tempted to just because of how cool that is. You know what, where we're going we don't need spoons. So that's my flour. Flour tends to be the only thing I really bother weighing because the other ingredients I find don't compact as much. So I'll usually weigh the flour and then I'll just measure everything else normally. So they want half a teaspoon of baking soda, pinch of salt. I never really know how much a pinch is, so let's just go with like that. And then a half a teaspoon of this, which I will measure, because some things are just salt and then some things are active raising agents. And I have not yet reached the levels of confidence where I will just YOLO in the baking soda. One day. I just made these. I made them in Hearthstone shapes, Christmas tree, snowmen. Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas. I have never made this particular recipe before, and I don't know that I'm going to do it justice. All right, so we did salt, baking soda. Is that it? Yeah. All right, so that's dry ingredients. I'm gonna flump that all together. I have a whisk that is my only metal whisk, and it came as part of a mixer, but it's like a decent size and it's easy to put in the cupboard, so I just keep this one. Rion, thank you very much for the 7-month resub. Merry Christmas, Hazel and Chat. Also, Luna Lou with a 3-month resub. Thank you very, very much. All right. So that's dry ingredients, and then I'm gonna do stick of butter. I suppose I should put this away. I've done a reasonable job of having my cupboards be like, I don't know about organized. Like, I have these different sort of trays that pull out, and they're like vaguely categorized, but also I'm the only one that's really digging for like raisins in there or anything like that, so I can just kind of put them wherever my soul feels that raisins should go, and I don't have to like justify it to the Dewey Decimal System or anything. So some of it makes sense and some of it really doesn't. Butter, and then an egg. So I took out 2 eggs because I'm gonna want one later for icing, and we'll look at that when we get to the icing part, because we're gonna be doing some icing improv. The Glamorous Gal, thank you very much for the bits. Merry Christmas, enjoyed your videos for years. Keep doing what you're doing. Thanks, Enjo. All right, so one of these, no egg yet. Butter and then sugar. I keep my brown sugar, not that has been warmed for long enough that it stuck to the paper a little bit. Get in there. I keep my white sugar in like a fairly small container, but my brown sugar, I just buy it in such bulk. Not because I go through it any faster, but just because this is the container that I keep my brown sugar in, and it just happens to be large. So whenever I get like a small thing, I'm like, well, that didn't fill it very much. So I buy lots of brown sugar at a time, because as long as the container's sealed, it keeps just fine. But then it means that whenever I'm like, if I'm adding like a little bit of sugar to like a bowl of oats or something like that, you like look at your spoon in proportion to the container, and then you overestimate. You're like, well, you know, that's just like 1% of this container, but sometimes that's all you need. But you don't know that until you've done it, and you go, oh no, this is too much. Okay, butter, sugar. How much sugar? There's the golden question. 3/4 of a cup. I am of the belief that measuring brown sugar, yeah, that's something I should probably weigh, actually, is I should probably weigh the sugar. Because brown sugar packs, and I never know how much, like, I feel like different recipe authors expect you to have it more or less packed. So I just kind of, I don't know, believe. And so then we're going to cream that together. That's been out long enough now that that should go pretty smoothly. What's next after that? We're going to do eggs, spices, vanilla. So I should probably get spices together. I'm just going to like take a soup bowl and start whacking stuff in here. So I decided on cinnamon, nutmeg, dry ginger, not mustard, been there before. Cardamom, question mark? Dry ginger for sure. I don't think I need cardamom actually. I think I made that one up. How are you doing? Much faster. Come on now. Yeah, there you go. Work on that for a bit. Yeah, no cardamom. I made that up. Ginger, cinnamon, nutmeg, and then half cloves and a little bit of pepper was the last thing. So we're gonna play this kind of fast and loose with roughly a teaspoon of each. But my spoons don't fit inside of my spice containers. It's one of my greatest complaints about them. One day, the next and hopefully last time I ever select spice containers, I'm going to prioritize making sure that either my spoons are narrow or my containers are very wide in the neck. And also, I don't know, these ones like collect spices under the lid, so every time you open them, they spill. They seemed like a great idea until they weren't. Cinnamon, but the nice thing about spices is I found it never really matters if you have just like, for the things I cook in my standards anyways, it doesn't matter if I miss the spice amount by like 5, 10, 15% or more, you know, it's, the worst thing that you're gonna do is make it a little extra spicy, as long as you don't go like way overboard, so that's like roughly a half a teaspoon. And then I needed to actually get some fresh ginger going on too. I was too lazy to get a spoon. We have the same mixer. I love that one, and the thing that makes me even happier about it, which is kind of dumb, but you can get a mixer that looks just like that in that color in Animal Crossing. So I don't have it in my new island yet, but it's on my list of things that I'm looking for. Not that I have a list of things that I'm looking for. In my new Animal Crossing save, I recently reached an issue where I filled the storage in my house. I had been not prioritizing upgrading my house because I was happy with having just one big room. I didn't feel like I needed any more room yet. But that also limits your storage, and I'd forgotten that. I was just buying clothes and jamming them in storage like I had unlimited, and then I reached a limit after I just bought like 20 extra pieces of clothing, so I like hung them all on my walls and dumped them on the lawn in front of my house, and then like rapidly tried to grind a ballast and pay for the upgrade. Until I realized I was just holding a lot of stuff in my storage that I wasn't really going to use, and if I really want another one, I can order it from the catalog. So then I went and just vendored like a bunch of weird furniture that was like cool but not part of the plan. And then I had room again. All right, so I'm looking for teaspoon vanilla. I'm gonna try not to get too distracted. We're gonna have time to. I'm gonna have time to like chat and come back and circle back once I get this chilling. But I need to get there sooner rather than later, and I'm not great at talking and doing things. Really bad weakness to have as a streamer. All right, so that looks gross, as it always does when you first add eggs. And then we're gonna throw spices in there, and then I wanted ginger. So I feel like I'm gonna just slice off a nubbin and then put it through my garlic press, I think is my plan. I find that it takes a lot of oomph, it takes a lot of anger to properly press ginger through a garlic press, but you can do it. It's just like a real tough fibrous thing, but if you hate it enough, you can make it juicy. So, you know what? Fine, I will use the knife. And that's way too big of an oven. I don't need, it's cookies, not stir fry. Okay. All right, that'll do. I was thinking of peeling that while talking to chat, but that's a real mistake. I am not good enough with a knife to do that, and it's a real weird knobby lump of ginger. So let's just do this. I usually just peel ginger with a knife because it's pretty cheap to buy, so I don't mind that I'm losing a little extra of it, and it's faster, and then I end up with it in a more usable shape. So I have like a little nubbin. I'm actually going to chop that up just a couple more times to make it a little easier for the press, but not too much. And then I'm going to do just throw it in here and just see what I can get out of it. I don't really know how much I need. What did it say? I guess the book says. It wanted me to have a teaspoon of freshly grated ginger. Oh, I should have grated it. Well, I've juiced it. It like drips out of the front of this thing. Which, you know, it's good, right? Everybody loves some juicy ginger. Oh, you know what else I have, actually? I'm not really getting any ginger solids out of that, but I have this stuff. I have squeezed ginger. Kind of expensive to buy if you go through it a lot, but it's like really yummy. It's just ginger that they have, you know, annihilated using professional machinery and then packaged in a bottle. But it's like very convenient, and it's just good to put in stuff. Like most things can benefit. I guess maybe not most things, but let's just do like a little noob, little, there we go. Good stuff. You should peel ginger with a spoon to like build character. It's like a wax on, wax off thing. Oh man. You can get squeezy bottles of garlic too. Yeah, I am, for inexplicable reasons, snobbier about fresh garlic than I am about fresh ginger. Like, I'll use both kinds of fresh ginger, but for garlic, I feel like the pre-minced stuff and the squeezed stuff is inferior to fresh garlic, and fresh garlic is so much easier to press than ginger that I don't feel like it's any skin off my back to just peel some garlic real quick and then press it. Like, the ginger is a pain in the butt. If I'm gonna be just like throwing little sticks of it into like a sauce or something, that's fine. But if I need to get ginger really tiny, then that's when that stuff I feel like really shines. Okay, so that's basically wet ingredients right there. So we did, just make sure, butter, sugar, eggs, spices, vanilla. Oh, I need molasses and then dry ingredients, and then that becomes a dough, and then we chill it, and then I can come back and chat. And also clean up this. So how much molasses does it want? It wants a 1/4 cup, which I do not have. So I'm just going to get as much of this in there as I can and hope for the best. You gotta love trying to dispense very sticky things. I'm the same way with honey. Whenever something calls for like a really specific amount of honey, I'm just like, well, I'll try, but I don't even usually get it into like a measuring container because so much of it is going to stick to the cup or the spoon or whatever, that like you're gonna lose more of it than you're gonna use. So I just kind of like take a gloop of it and then just eyeball it, And you know, it usually works out like okay. I think the secret to being happier with cooking is to either get good or lower your standards. Actually, that's the secret to being happy with anything, is you can either put in like some actual honest to goodness effort and, you know, Google it and try, or you can lower your standards. And I feel like it's just kind of pick whichever solution works best for your application. You know, sometimes I try and then sometimes I just settle. And that's fine. You can settle for some things. You don't have to try at everything. Life's too short. Okay. This is... I can't look at molasses without being vividly reminded of the Disney live-action Dalmatians movie. There's a scene with Cruella de Vil in a farm and a barrel of molasses. And it's vividly burned into my childhood memory. I remember being very scary when I was a kid, and now it's mostly funny. I think it's supposed to be funny, but because she's like an angry adult that's all goopy, she becomes very frightening when you're small and afraid of angry adults. I think I'm going to need this again, so I'm going to try to purify my poor spatula. Oh, it makes the peel come off easier? I see. I'm happy enough with my knife. It works good. Like the mixer, is it one of those KitchenAid ones? That was a Christmas present like 4 years ago, 5 years ago? 4 years ago. I don't know. 1 year. That was a Christmas present of a previous year from Mr. Nutty to me. It was one of those things that I'd kind of always wanted, and that I had this idea that once somebody got one, they like had it forever. Like I'd never known anybody to have a KitchenAid mixer and then like replace it or have it break or anything unless they did something dumb. So it seemed like one of those like permanent feeling, at least, life upgrades, and I was really happy with it. Spoon or the back of the knife? I see. It got to the point of Arden Wheel with a cutscene. Lowering standards delivers 100% of the time. Sometimes it's just gotta happen. Alright, so we're getting the molasses in there, and then dry ingredients, and then we're gonna make sure that I've scraped my bowl and then chill this. They're going to be a little lighter than the recipe because I don't think we had a quarter cup of molasses, but that's okay. Should be fine. Okay. So, yeah, I'll put it in half at a time. Sure. Fine. And then stir, just so it doesn't tumble. Floomps. There we go. I hope I can get quite a few years out of the antlers. I was resistant to getting anything festive, because I didn't want to buy something to wear for just like a week. So I bought the nicest ones I could find, and I'm hoping that I can just like store them nicely and be pretty careful with them. And then they can just be Hazel's Christmas antlers. And then every year we can just look forward. I mean, I don't know if we're going to look forward to it, but it'll be something recognizable about my content in the last week of December. It's like, hey, she's still wearing those antlers. That's the dream anyways, assuming I don't lose them. But as long as I'm still making content, I promise I will not Marie Kondo them because, you know, they spark joy for somebody. Maybe it's me. Alright. That's coming together. We don't want to over-mix it, but we do want it to be mixed. So I'm just going to give it a little scrape. Not that much of it, which is good. Sometimes cookie recipes just make millions of cookies. And it's just the two of us, and for a little bit it's going to be just me. Alright, that seems good. So let's get that wrapped up. And the plan actually was to throw the bowl in the freezer. I'm wondering if I shouldn't just put it outside, because it is freezing outside. And I don't think my freezer has room. So I feel like if I cover this bowl and I just put it on my deck, that will be more effective than the fridge. And, you know, get the job done. Alright. I've never been particularly skilled at the fine motor skill of removing dough and batter from a mixing paddle. There's just too many little bits on it. And, like, I know I've done a bad job, but I just can't visualize the correct way to use tools to get it off because it's sticky. Come on now. Be free. Yeah. If I wasn't on stream, I would probably just eat it off the mixer. But you know, don't eat raw eggs, kids. Okay. That's pretty good. We have some cookie dough. Any snow? A little bit, yeah. Last couple days I've had kind of off and on, not much, but like just enough that it's been real cold, and the roads have been a little bit icy as well, and the sidewalk's been a little icy, so I haven't been walking as far with the dog because it's slippy up there, and it's always very pretty, but I get resentful when I can't get my whole exercise, and I'm just not coordinated enough to be a safe individual to go like out on ice. Okay, I'm gonna cover that. I'm gonna whack it outside for a few minutes, and then I'm gonna clean my kitchen, make some tea probably, and then have a chat, both just to you guys about whatever you want, but also talk about my plan for decorating, because there's what the book wants me to do, and then there's what we have the resources to do. So let's make sure that that's covered. And then just make sure I don't have room in my freezer. Yeah, no, 100% not. Okay, outside you go. Be right back. Although you can still hear me because I have a wireless microphone. Those birds, no, they won't eat it. It's covered. You can't have my gingerbread dough. Hi. I would like to thank. We had Space Cadet Rick with a 6-month recess a couple of minutes ago. Flame Horse Gal with 100 bits, Auntie Muffin with 100 bits, and Foxman with a 5-month resub. Merry Christmas, Hazel. Merry Christmas. Where to start? Probably with a dish rack. Dish rack, dishes, tea. Am I done with the mixer? I'm not done with the mixer. We're going to be making some icing. Some being the operative word there. I have this quantity of icing sugar, which is drastically less than any amount that's called for in like any recipe ever. And I don't find that you usually need a ton of icing to make gingerbread cookies good, right? It's fine if it's just like little bits of ornamental icing. And if you've never seen me decorate a cookie or a cake, the thing you should know is that I am impatient, uncoordinated, bad at detail, and hungry. So it's usually about big, fast designs that can happen quickly before I'm just over the whole thing, because I deeply hate having sugar on my hands, like icing on my hands drives me nuts, and I just want the whole thing to be over with as quickly as possible. I deeply dislike decorating baked goods. One of the charming aspects of my personality. So I feel like I'm going to use all of this and then attempt to finagle additional ingredients to make it into a small batch royal icing. Maybe food color part of it. We could do like green and then leave some of it white. But even then, I don't know if I'm even going to be piping it, because that may be too much for me. You do not understand the depths to which I despise this whole practice. I like eating pretty cookies. I like looking at pretty cookies. The process of making them pretty is witchcraft that I will have very little part of. Guac the Croc with 100 bits, thank you very much. Howdy. So I've just started playing WoW. Any advice for a new Blood DK tank or a tank in general? As if we're new to tanking, I always tell people to, well, first of all, reading a class guide is just good advice for anybody at all that's brand new, because it might have suggestions that hadn't occurred to you yet. But for tanks, your plates, your name plates are important. It doesn't matter which nameplates you're using, but as long as they show you threat. Most nameplate add-ons will have pretty clear threat plates. I know the KUI that I use will change the color of a nameplate if you lose aggro on the mob, so that you know very quickly if there's something that you've lost within a group that you need to taunt. So that's a good place to start. At least you're designing, I don't even bother. Designing is a loose term. We can select which kind of cookie cutters we want to use once I'm there. I'm going to set a half-hour timer. And that's how long I'm giving myself to get my kitchen clean, tea made, and a plan. Because after this, I'm going to have to, at the very least, select my, I'm going to need to select my cookie cutter, at the very least, to figure out what shape of cookies that we're doing. I'm probably going to do just the one, because I'm pretty sure my options are a little limited. I don't have a huge collection of cookie cutters because that would be a strange thing to own as somebody that hates decorating cookies. I do like eating cookies, so it's important to have at least one cookie cutter because I do make gingerbread a couple times a year just because I really like eating gingerbread. And it's one of those things that is almost, unless you have like a really good like bakery or like a hookup somewhere, store-bought gingerbread is so disappointing when you want gingerbread that I feel it was an important life skill for myself to be able to make something acceptable. If you have regular sugar, you can make powdered sugar pudding in the food processor. Oh, I don't have a food processor. I have a blender. That's kind of the same thing. Dustin, thank you very much for the bits. From Olivia, I will miss your baking streams. They've been a lot of fun. Thank you, Olivia. They have been a whole journey, and I've definitely made a lot of things that I never would have made otherwise. For sure. Okay, tanking in general. Before Mythic Plus, don't let people to pug bully you. As a tank, your Q times are low. They can go at your pace. It's a fair point. People will tend to get very frustrated with tanks that don't know the routes, although that's a little less of a problem these days because there aren't really that many routes in Shadowlands dungeons. It's not like BFA. There aren't like a number of different paths you can take for most of them. It's usually just kind of follow the map and stick to the path and you'll be pretty fine. But yeah, you have all of the bargaining power in a group situation because you can find another group very quickly, and that same cannot hold true for the DPS at least. And that doesn't mean that you should, just be awful, but don't let people push you around, especially if it's something that you know you're right on, because they do need you. You're gonna make royal icing. What is royal icing? I'm gonna try. And it's going to be a little iffy because I have an unknown quantity of icing sugar that is definitely less than any recipe calls for. Royal icing is a type of icing that is made, there's different ways to do it. Some people use meringue powder. I typically will use egg whites and cream of tartar. And the defining characteristic of royal icing is that when it's set, when it's dry, it's hard. It's moldable and it's soft while it's wet, but as soon as it dries, it's like rock hard. So you'll often see it used for making gingerbread houses, structural stuff. It's very iconic with gingerbread because you can like cement candy in it, and once it's hardened, it is not going anywhere. So that's kind of the plan. I have an egg. I have cream of tartar. I figure I'm just going to do like a small amount of cream of tartar, all of the icing sugar, the egg white, probably whip up the egg white first, and then add like drops of milk until it looks right. Was the plan? I guess I should maybe Google it a little bit more because if that icing sugar doesn't succeed, that's the end of my attempts. The roads are icy, it's Christmas Eve. I am going nowhere. I'm not getting more. I'm using what I have, so I should have gotten more. But icing sugar is just one of those things that I never think to check how much of it I have. I will occasionally buy it when I'm thinking of making something, but usually I just kind of assume it's already around because I never go through a whole thing in one project. Okay. Icing to me, just powdered sugar and water for gingerbread cookies. And that would also be a valid option, especially because I don't think I'm really going to be adding candy to these because I don't have candy, I don't think. I have, once I've done the dishes, I'll go take a look. I may have chocolate chips, and I have Oreos. I could like break up Oreos and ice small pieces of Oreo onto the cookies, which is a silly idea, but improvising. The reason I have Oreos is because I was making that coffee cheesecake I posted on Instagram a few weeks ago, and I needed to make an Oreo crumb crust, but I couldn't find like those Oreo crumbs that they sell already crumbed, so I just bought a bunch of Oreos and then I brutally murdered them. C-Hag, thank you for the bits. Also Scarlarth with an 8-month resub. Thank you very, very much. First baking stream I caught was around this time of year while decorating a Christmas tree. Coming full circle now. You have regular sugar and a food processor. I have regular sugar. I don't have a food processor. I have like a Ninja Vitamix style blender. That might do. I also don't want like a ton of. I don't really want a ton of icing either. So I feel like I'm gonna be able to get by. We'll see. Gingerbread cookies with Oreo crumbs. I'd eat it. Yeah, it might work. I might be able to make something happen. Yeah, I might have chocolate chips because I often keep those on hand just because that's kind of like my emergency bake. I have two things that I make if I just need to bake something, which happens, it's like prime, I think, distress procrastination for me is if I'm just like trying all day to do something and it's just not coming together and everything's going wrong and I just get madder and madder and madder. And then I just need to walk away and do something better, but like I'm too mad to sit down. In those cases, I will bake something, and it has to be in a hurry. It has to be now. So I keep the ingredients for chocolate chip cookies and then chocolate mug cake, depending on how much chocolate I require in my emergency bake. Chocolate chip cookies, I just keep that stuff on hand because it's just like butter and flour and sugar and vanilla, like normal things that are not difficult to keep around. So I probably have chocolate chips just in anticipation of needing to make those cookies in an emergency. For 100k channel points, can you make one in the gingerbread man Anduin? We can call him Anduin, but I would hesitate to indicate that there's going to be any level of personification happening with these. I don't even know if I have a man-shaped cookie cutter. I might. I'll take a look at the cookie cutters after I get the dishes squared away. Here in Norway, the usual decorative candy is non-stop Smarties, and gingerbread cookies are called pepper cookies here. Smarties actually is something that's very, well, I don't know if it's traditional, but it's a thing that my family always did, is we also would decorate gingerbread cookies always with Smarties. And once or twice when I first moved here, I like hunted down Canadian Smarties for the sake of gingerbread. And I eventually switched to M&M's because while Smarties were traditional, they're not that good. They're fine. It's like a mass-produced, or at least the ones that I'm thinking of, are like a mass-produced Nestle chocolate. It's not going to change your life. So I just accepted defeat and used M&M's instead. Because while it's not the same thing and it doesn't taste exactly the same, it does get you from point A to point B. Point B being the point where you have cookies that have candy on them. Okay, this is for a knife. This had sugar in it. They are better than M&M's. I would agree that Smarties are better than M&M's. I would disagree that they're good. They're fine. One thing that I hadn't realized was a Canadian prepackaged candy until I saw it in like an infographic somewhere, was the Coffee Crisp candy bars. I didn't realize we didn't have these here. And I hadn't thought about one in like 6 years until I realized that I couldn't easily get one, and then I wanted one. Wash the egg? What? That one? Could do. Put in the weight cloves. And I am kind of bonking my antlers on stuff. Maybe I should adjust if I want them to be in good condition for later. It's not so much of a problem when I'm just sitting at my desk. But I have a very tall clearance over here. One thing I did not do when I was making that dough is I actually didn't try it at all. Usually I will sample at least a little bit of it to see how the spicing is going, I tell myself. And I forgot to do that, so it remains to be seen if it's going to be any good. You ever had the chocolate Smarties? Just had the chalky ones grown up. Yeah, we had those as well, but they were called Rockets, and they were usually sold as part of like Halloween candy. I didn't dislike those. I feel like as far as Halloween candy went, the Rockets were all right. Didn't mind those. Norwegian chocolate generally really good though. Yeah. You can get good chocolate here, but you have to try. You have to consciously go out with the intent to buy good chocolate. Because if you just get the cheapest and first chocolate you can find, you're gonna have a bad day. Okay, so that's the counter. Some insulation, a little styrofoam off my counter. I was unpackaging. I just got this, which I'm still figuring out. It kind of, at first glance, looks like one of those things that's meant to trick your eyes into thinking that you know what it is, but you don't know what it is. In theory, this is supposed to help skim protein and surface scum off of an aquarium surface. I have no idea how it works. My plan was to get it assembled, which I think I have now, give it a really good rinse, and then just turn it on and see. And then maybe I'll get some clues once I've plugged it in as to how it's working. But that should hopefully help. So I'm going to set that up after the stream. For now, I was going to grab a stool, I was going to make some tea, I was going to look for candy. That's what I was going to do. Water Goddess, thank you for the 5-month resub. Merry Christmas, Hazel. 5 months go by so fast. Love your content. Hope you have a safe and happy holiday season. Right back at you. I hope you guys are all having a good holiday. I'm just so glad that there's no bad news. I feel like I've been sort of waiting for it. Every time I talk to my family, I'm just like bracing myself for somebody to be sick or for something to have gone wrong just while I've been away. And so far, everybody's good, and I hope everybody stays good. Uses a flow of water through the filter. Yeah, it has its own, I inspected it, and it has its own impeller. I'm just a little confused about, I guess if this is the intake, I don't know what this is. And I don't know what this is. This, I don't know what that is. I think this floats. I'll figure it out later. It's not important for me to understand it right now. The important thing is that I have it. I am going to make some tea. I feel like I want to get into, I would have, if they had had any, I would make a Christmas themed tea. Stash makes this blend called Christmas Morning that I like. It's not terribly fancy, but it's nice. And when I was a kid, one of my school friends got me a box of Christmas Morning tea for Christmas one year. And I loved it so much that I decided I would only ever drink it on Christmas morning. It was like a box of 20 bags of tea. And I was like, okay, so I made 1 cup of tea with 1 tea bag on Christmas morning, and then I put the box away until next year. And then I made 1 cup of tea with 1 tea bag on Christmas morning and put the box away until next year. And I did this for about 5 years before my mom said, dear, you know tea gets old, right? Like, it won't mold or anything. It's dry, but it does get stale. And it's not really advised to drink the same box of tea for like 15 years. So I eventually replaced it, and I didn't manage to get a hold of any this year. Blend is so good. I like it very much. It's nice. But for today, what I did manage to get was I got, where did I put it? I got a whole bunch of them. The Portland blend I am on the fence about. It's one of those teas that has cocoa nibs in it, which gives it kind of a chocolatey taste, and some people love it, and some people don't. And I don't think I'm huge on it. Like, if I'm drinking something that tastes like chocolate, I expect it to be as rich as hot chocolate, and when it's not, I get disappointed. So this one's fine, I'll drink it, but I don't think it's my favorite. Now now we're talking. The Super Irish Breakfast, it's like a really strong, really like malty, you know, stiff cup of tea, and that is exactly what I want. So I'm gonna make some of that. Okay, that there. We have a 2-month reset from Grevin. Thank you very much. Thanks for helping my guild progress through now 3. A happy holiday. Congrats on your raid progress and happy holiday. Loose leaf tea is amazing. More of a coffee person, so if I critique tea for being stale, you know it's seriously stale and crusty. Stale tea, awful. I don't know that I've ever, like, that one, I was probably like 13 by the time I came to the realization that I should get rid of it. So I don't know if my young palate was good enough to identify that particular Christmas tea as stale. And then ever since then, I've just gone through tea at such a pace that it hasn't really had a chance to become stale. However, old tea, I am somewhat ashamed to admit that when I was a teenager, I didn't start to drink coffee until like last year, so I was a tea-only person for a long time. And I would just make a big pot of black breakfast tea and I would drink that. But sometimes I would make a pot of black breakfast tea and I would have a cup, and then later in the afternoon would come around and I'd want another cup of tea, and there was still cold tea in the pot. So I would pour a cup of that, I would heat it up in the microwave, and then I would have a cup of tea. And it was like kind of gray looking, but it was still tea. And then on a few occasions, I did the same thing, except instead of having it later in the afternoon, I would have it the next day because I was like really late. And I don't recommend it. It's not great, but I kind of got like a taste for like old reheated tea. It has like a specific kind of flavor to it, and I was kind of into it. You know, turns real gray, but you know, it reminds me of homework benders with my friends. We used to have homework parties because we were very cool kids, where we would all meet up at somebody's house for like a Saturday, and we would all bring our homework, and we would all sit in somebody's like den or basement or whatever, have a bunch of tea, and then just do homework all day because we had a lot of homework for some reason. I was grabbing a stool is what I was doing. And then I was going to look for candy. It's funny when people start drinking coffee as adults. That's how people function. Yeah, I find caffeine is tricky for me. I do have a caffeine addiction. I'm well aware of that. I try to be aware of how much caffeine I consume in like a given day, and then try not to let that amount creep upwards. I try to keep it at least a stable amount of consumption so that I don't increase my requirements. But I find that some of it is very helpful, or just like a steady drip throughout the day is very helpful for helping me focus. But it's very easy if I go too much, it's really bad. Like caffeine can be rough for anxiety for me. And if I have too much, I start to feel like it's like everything's doomed. I get caffeine doom. And it's helpful that I've identified that that's what causes it. Like once I linked that doom feeling to caffeine, I stopped worrying so much about the universe and realized I just needed to calm down with the coffee. But, fine line. Divine Devil, thank you very much for the bits. Merry Christmas, Hazel. Merry Christmas. Oh man, caffeine-induced anxiety is the worst. At least once you've figured out that's what's causing it, then you know. I find that whenever I'm afflicted with something, it's always easier to tolerate when I know why it happened. That's the worst part of a lot of women's health problems sometimes are just very difficult to medically figure out. A lot of the time, doctors will just go, well, hormones, and then they just like either give you some hormones or they just say, good luck with that, try an ibuprofen. And when you don't know why and you don't know when, it's very frustrating. But if you can figure out a cause and you can at least link it to something, then that often makes me feel a lot better. When I was a senior in high school, I had a freshman pay me to buy caffeine powder for them because he had to be 18 to buy it. You caffeine pushing? That's very funny. This towel smells very much like detergent. I just ran these through. My towels. I just washed this, and I was Googling ways to brighten my towels because they get like dark spots. I wash my towels every week. Maybe I need to do it more than once a week. Maybe that's my problem. Maybe I'm just gross. But I do laundry every week. I do all the towels, sheets, washcloths, whatever, weekly. And clearly it's just not enough because they get like big brown spots there. And I don't like them. And I think what I need to do is like do like a soak, like a baking soda or like a vinegar soak or something. Or maybe you do the baking soda soak and then you wash them in vinegar or something like that. Because they're otherwise perfectly good towels. And I want them to look nice again because I just want everything to feel like I tried, How much tea am I making? I'm going to do 1 pot. How much tea do I want? 1, 2. Well, let's make the big pot of tea. We'll do the big pot of tea. We'll use quite a bit of it. Then we can have like a nice big one. Thank you for helping my guild get through Castle Nathria. Thank you very much for watching, Husker. Glad they worked for you guys. We just had we actually managed to re-clear normal Nathria last night with a partial raid. We didn't require attendance this week because it was like Christmas Eve yesterday, so we just kind of said whoever wants to come can. But we had like 15, 16 people or so, and we actually full cleared normal again, as well as Shriekwing and Heroic. We probably would have tried Altamore and Heroic, except that our Shriekwing performance was so abysmal that we didn't deserve to try Altamore. It wasn't going to be worth pulling the trash. We did so badly on Shriekwing. Like, I'm kind of astonished that we killed it, to be honest with you. Ekamum, thank you for the 4-month reset at Hazelnutty Games. Appreciate it. Oh, man. Coffee betraying you when you most need it is the worst. Let's see here. So, I want a pretty good sized scoop of that because I'm making a big pot of tea. I will usually do 2 scoops in the big pot because it's got that much more water in it. And the last thing that you want to do is make like uncomfortably weak tea because at that point you can't really steep it longer. That's just going to make it bitter. And then you have to drink it anyways because otherwise you wasted the tea that you did use. So I am much less afraid of estimating high when it comes to the amount of tea. Oh, that's right. I had a timer. That had like, I don't know. I had a timer for just how long I was chilling the dough, but I think that I can probably, once I figure out the plan, I can probably get to baking those and it'll be all good. Thanks for the raid, guys, even though my pugs don't follow 80% of the time. Sometimes it goes that way. New to Twitch, but I love watching your streams. Welcome, Lucy. You guys don't have tea bags? We do. I prefer loose leaf tea unless I'm kind of in a hurry or feeling very cheap. But I keep both around for different moods, I would say. But whenever I can be bothered to brew loose leaf tea, which to be honest is not hard, it's just sometimes I become very difficult. Sometimes I'm not functioning very well. But whenever I can be bothered to actually brew loose leaf tea, I much prefer it. It's great. Okay, put that away. So I have what will help me decorate these. That's ramen. That's cake, that's soup, that's a sun-dried tomato. Those are olives, that's no good. Those are Oreos and chocolate chips. I have Oreos and I have regular chocolate chips, and then I just have icing. There's nothing that says that you have to put candy onto your cookies. I could just have them be gingerbread, or I could also separately just have them with just icing and no extra candy on top. And well, maybe we'll try out some different ways. Guac the Croc, thank you very much for the bits. As far as faction goes, what's a big reason that you've been drawn to Alliance? I liked their races. I liked the cities. Specifically, I prefer Stormwind vastly over Orgrimmar. Alliance had gnomes and humans, which I like very much. And then blue just looks better on me, and I wanted the merch. Red's not a great color on me. It's not good with my skin. So cookie cutter-wise, I have to get up. I thought maybe I could grab them without getting up, but I'm just going to fall out of my stool. We have, what do we have? Oh yeah. Okay. Option number 1, Hello Kitty. On top of being a branded property, this one is so vague in its shape, you can kind of see how it's a Hello Kitty head with a bow, but by the time the cookies have spread, and my cookies will spread, they always do, I'm not fancy enough to have them be perfectly shaped, this will no longer look like anything but a blob, so I'm going to roll that out. We have the star, which is nice because it's a metal cutter and because it's got a very distinct and recognizable shape. They will still look like stars when we're done with them. Or I have tree, which I kind of like because it's smaller than star. This is a very big cookie. This is a more manageable cookie, which means I can make more of them. And the picture in the book was tree, so I'm kind of feeling tree. How do we feel? Tyragosa, thank you for the 8-month resub. Also, we had Grumpy Grendel with a 4-month resub. Melted Sprinkles, oh, not again. Not again. Never again. Is it too late to turn the gingerbread men into ginger stick figure men? In theory, possible. In practice, absolutely not. Oreo tea. I like how some people will come through a baking stream and they'll watch and they'll hang out, and some people will come through and they'll have like really professional ideas of how to do things better, and then some people come through and they're like, put an Oreo in some hot water. I really enjoy this spectrum. It's nice. Tree? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Success cutting cookies, chilling them in the freezer while the previous batch bakes. I've done that before. The thing that happened to me is my freezer's not like... You can tell I'm about to get whiny. The thing that happened to me is my freezer has like stuff in it. So while you can squeeze like a tray of unbaked cookies on top of like some frozen pizza boxes, it's not gonna sit evenly. And if you're not very, very careful, you're gonna drop them on the floor and spill them. And I've done that. And it's heartbreaking to have gone through the effort to roll them out and cut them and put them onto the tray and then have them fall onto the floor in disgrace when you were expecting cookies is it's kind of scarred me on the inside, and I don't know if I'm just ready to try it again. Put an Oreo in hot water and then top it with a deconstructed chocolate mousse. As long as you charge somebody $27 for it, then you're a professional. It's only when it's free that it's gross. I dropped my microphone pack. Come back. Oh no. Oh dear. Oh dear. One moment. So that was my tea being ready. Let's have a cup of tea, and then I'll start probably rolling and cutting some cookies to get these baked. Also, I should preheat the oven, yeah? These are going to bake at 350 degrees for like about 10 minutes, which sounds right. That sounds accurate. That looks like just what I'm after. Okay. Oh boy. All right, I want one of these and I want one of these. This teapot has a chip on the lid, and then it has like some real, I don't know but fractures. Maybe it's just a fracture in the glaze. It's definitely seeing its wear. I'm not terribly gentle with teapots. But it's also like takes all of the minimalism that I have within my body to not just collect more and more and more of them, because teapots are so fun. I have 3, which feels like too many. One of them could probably be downsized. The large one is for large amounts of tea, and then I have my small green one that you've seen sometimes, and that's just kind of like an everyday normal batch of tea. But then sometimes I just also have this one with a little bamboo handle, and it's just so cute. So I use this for like green tea whenever we're having sushi at home because it's just so cute. I don't need it. The other one would also work, but that's one. It sparks joy. Gosh darn it, you know. I am back with you in just a sec. So we do full in that one, half in this one. Get a little milk in there. J-Mouse, thank you for the 5-month resub. Love the stream and the raid guide videos. Hopefully get it down heroic tonight. 3 bosses left. Best of luck to you guys. Bet you got it. If you can get past Sludge Fist, you're fine. You guys gonna do great. We were just on normal, but we had a spicy Sludge Fist run last night. Because it's only the 2nd week, our guild has yet to really learn to feel out each other's grooves when it comes to moving together. So we had a lot of deaths due to chain pairs disagreeing on how to next move. So a lot of people died through no fault of their own in particular. And we ended the kill with like 2 people left. But we killed it. We didn't have to re-pull it. One of our raid leaders is out for the holidays, so our other leader was doing the actual leading tonight, which and usually the first leader, the one that's gone, is pretty quick to call a wipe. Like, whenever we've lost too many people early on, they just like, no, wipe it up, we're going to do this properly. Like, it's very important to him that we understand how to do it. So when things start going sideways, he just, like, calls it, and then we wipe, and then we start over so we can do it right. But this, the other guy is a little more stubborn than that, and just, you know, just let's keep going, let's see how you do it. And I like both approaches. I think both approaches are good. I think that fighting it out kind of gives the people who died more time to think about what they did, assuming they don't just like get up and go okay. But it's definitely sometimes faster to go ahead and wipe it up. Oh, nice cat. Okay, water, tea, Oreos. Total cookie loss is an unmerry mood. I make recipes with 1.5 the ingredients because my Maine Coon baby trips me in the kitchen. Oh dear. Oh, they're so cute though. I love those cats. I mean, I love all cats. I don't think I've ever met a cat that I didn't like. Mostly because I've only ever really met pleasant cats. And then the other cats I just see on the internet. So if they're unpleasant, then I don't know. Are your teapots still with lids? I broke all my lids and now I have 2 teapots without lids. I have all 3 lids still. I have a chip missing from 1 lid, but I do still have all 3 lids. Strats to have a marked player in range, you follow them. We tried that. That's definitely the way to go. That's the move. Thing that happened to us is somebody had like an add-on, I want to say Exorcist, that was like auto-marking, and it was like wiping off the mark that we had set. And then mid-fight, it was too hectic to try to reassign it. And then we just tried calling it out, but then people, sometimes we just didn't really get there. Okay, so I have my tea. I'm not going to make the icing until after. We need to get these rolled, we need to get these cut, we need to get these baked. So let's preheat this, and let's take the book off the cooktop. It doesn't get hot, but just in case. And I usually will roll cookies on a cutting board. I don't know why, I still make a mess on the counter, but I just feel better about it. I'm gonna need some flour, so I'm just gonna bring the whole thing out. I'm just gonna keep like a good scoop of it here. I do have a rolling pin, so we'll use that. And I'm gonna wash my hands one more time, and I'll probably, so we're gonna use that. I'm probably gonna have a good number of these. Well, actually, it wasn't a huge batch. I prefer whenever possible. I have better luck making cookies with the insulated cookie sheet. It's usually more effective. Let's see. Severed, thank you for the 2-month resub. All right, so we're gonna throw some parchment on here. You know what I haven't done today? Maybe I'll do this evening just to make it seem a little more holiday-like. I haven't really listened to any Christmas music. Now that I think of it, last year, I remember, I don't know if I was putting on Christmas music. I might have put on some music to, like, bake. But then, I do remember looking around on Netflix for, like, holiday movies that I'd never seen before. And then watching some, like, very old live-action, like, biblical drama. Just because. I couldn't tell you why I decided to watch it. It just felt like the move. It was alright. There's something kind of interesting about just watching really old movies. Like really old movies, because it kind of feels like you're looking at people and you're watching them, and I'm thinking less about the story of the movie and more about how they made the movie and like what the actors did in like their spare time, you know, like how they got to set and stuff like that. Just because some of them, you know, old movies happened a long time ago, relatively speaking. So I'm gonna need my rolling pin, which I hide because it's huge. I used to keep it in a more prime drawer until I realized that I use this thing like once every second month, and it's huge, so it like takes up half the drawer, and it wasn't worth like, oh, that's way too much flour. It wasn't worth rummaging over it every time I was looking for something else, so I've decided to just kind of keep it stashed behind the towels. I'm going to fetch my cookie dough, as long as the birds didn't get any. Nah. No way. Sorry, hummingbird. You can come back in a sec. Ugh. Oh, that is a cold bowl. That is a cold bowl. That worked a treat. Okay. It is freezing outside, and I kept expecting it to warm up because it was like daytime, and I guess it's just not going to do that. Happy ho ho ho, or almost ho 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 for all. Warm milk and dissolve the Oreo in it? Why are we dissolving Oreos? I think I missed a few beats in chat. I don't know why somebody wants me to do such a cruel thing to an Oreo. It's just gonna be like a soggy Oreo in water. I don't understand. All right, so let's get like a dozen of these going. Other reason I didn't chill them as long as it wanted me to is because I find that with really, really cold cookie dough, it's like almost impossible to roll. So I don't want these to be too thin. But also, how many is this supposed to make? This recipe is supposed to make 24 cookies, 24 cookies. Although, I don't know if I've ever in my life had a recipe make the prescribed amount of cookies. I always assumed that they were expecting me to make cookies that are like this big, like coins. Especially recipes that start saying they're going to turn out like 4 or 5 dozen cookies. I've never seen it. It does not happen. So there's 2 of 24 in theory. But like, I'm not making these super thick. These are probably like a half, like 4 millimeters thick, maybe 3 or 4, 5, probably 4. I would say less than half a centimeter thick. And I have 2 of them, and I feel like I just used like a fifth of my dough. It's Isaac the Paladin. Thank you very much for the brand new stuff. Welcome to the Squirrel Squad. Okay, I could probably do this in bigger quantities. The flour actually is working out for me because this dough is quite wet still. A little bit sticky, so this is good. Nice and even-ish. And then we can do another 2 that way. I don't know if we're getting 24 out of this. We'll see. So far I have 4. That one's missing a corner, but that's fine. I'm not too fussed about it. Nice thing about straws is that you don't have to pick up your cup to have some tea. Keep going. There we are. I do want to stay here and keep going until this is done, just because if I linger, if I dawdle, they're going to warm up more, and that's going to make them spread more. And I've already consigned myself to some amount of spreading because I didn't chill them for an hour. and because, well, mostly the first one, because I may or may not freeze them. I guess, actually, you know what? Well, I don't trust myself to put, like, a pre-made tray of cookies in my freezer while the first tray bakes. Could maybe put them outside. That might work. As long as I cover them with, like, a towel or something to make sure that nothing's gonna get to them immediately, like in the 10 minutes that they're out there. Could maybe get away with them. Could maybe get away with putting them outside, because it is freezing out there. I used to remember my mom would make big batches of soup in a crock pot, and then she would cool it down. She didn't want to put like warm soup in the fridge, but we would have it like dinner, and she'd want to like get it done so she can go to bed. So she would cool the leftover soup by just like setting it out on our porch for a little bit, because in the winter it was so cold that it would just chill like right away, and then you weren't releasing any like steam or heat into your refrigerator to save power. Okay, this one here. So I'm feeling like I'm going to get 9 trees. Actually, you know what? I'm not using good tree. I can get more trees if I think in shapes. There we go. That's how triangles work. I was going to say there's no way I'm getting more than 9 on here, but then I used my brain. I guess you can't see what I did. I had them all facing the same way briefly. A lot of glare. And then I discovered if I turned half of them upside down, I can fit like way more trees. So carrying on. What other anecdotes? Oh, somebody asked me how the covenant switching thinking was going. So after raid night, I felt a little better about Kyrian because I had a good parse night last night. We had our best healer was away for the holidays, which meant that I guess there was healing left for the rest of us to do, because both me and the other remaining healer had much better logs this past week, and maybe we also just did better, also entirely possible, but we had better logs. And I figure if I can still get golden parses, and mind you, it's normal, they're not that prestigious, but if I can still get golden parses as a holy priest, I mean, I guess they're holy priest parses, but with my Kyrian ability, if I can still get the parse that way, then it's not that bad, and I just need to suck it up and learn to live with it, because everything else about being a Kyrian I love so much, and I don't want to give it up, just for Unholy Nova. So I don't think I'm gonna switch. I might change my mind again later, but for now, I think I can do just fine. And once in a while, once in the bluest of blue moons, a situation comes up that I just kind of luck into pressing a well-timed Boon of the Ascended. Like, I just accidentally anticipated when there was going to be group damage in 20 seconds, but when there was enough stuff out so I could build up, like, a lot of stacks. I wonder also if I should make myself a weak core that tracks my Ascended stacks, just so I can have a better idea as I'm going how far I've gotten, so I can kind of measure them against each other. Because that was part of the Shadow Priest gameplay that I used to really like back in last expansion in BFA and Legion, was tracking how many stacks my Void Form got to within a Void Form. And funnily enough, trying to stack up Boon of the Ascended is kind of sort of a similar deal. You're trying to get many stacks, although it's more for, you're building up an AoE explosion as opposed to building up like a big crit buff with the other one. That feels like one more cookie, and then we can, I don't even know if I'm going to have enough for a second tray, to be honest with you. This is 4, 8, 12, 13, 14 cookies on this tray, because of triangle math. 14, we're going to do 15. And then I guess I'm just going to have like a little Italy partial tray with just like a couple more. Oh no, this one's going to be sad. It's okay, buddy. You know, not all trees are happy trees. All right, so I'm just going to throw those in. I shall show you. Trees. And we're going to do 10 minutes and then see what they look like. But I imagine it's going to take me about 10 minutes to get the rest of those all rolled out. My chat, I think I need to restart it. I'm seeing replays from like 10, my chat's showing me chat from like 10 minutes ago. I think I need to restart my window. This happened to me once on my desktop, and I think I just had to reset it. Okay, let's close the chat, and then I'm going to get it back, and hopefully I have some retroactive so that I can see some recent chat would be good. There we are. Okay. Bob Ross turning over happy trees. I I betcha even Bob Ross could acknowledge that not every tree is going to be a happy tree. Imagine if every tree was a happy tree. That just becomes dystopian. Then you're like, why are all of the trees happy? That's not right. Birthday's today. I just used my wish early. Happy birthday, Carnal. This tea is so good. I need to not chug the whole thing. That's not right. That's not what you do. All right, a little bit more parchment. I did a couple more dungeons as well. I have yet to time anything higher than a 5 so far this week. We'll get there. We finished a The Other Side 10 that was also over time by a few minutes, but they're getting better. It's just, we were spending a lot of time on Spiteful, killing all of the Spiteful, and some people are now saying, I'm hearing that you can time them out. I'm hearing that if you just, can root them in place or something for like 25 seconds or something like that, that they will eventually go away. And I think that'll help our groups a lot, because we're losing a ton of damage to people just having to stop and turn and kill Spiteful, and they're like really beefy. So if we can avoid killing them, then that's going to be much, much better. This is going to be like 3 extra cookies. This is going to be a silly, tiny little tray. Downloaded your DBM voice pack, so now you're telling me what to do in my Mythic Plus and raids. If every tree was happy, would we even notice? Probably when you start chopping them down. I guess trees don't say much when you chop them down, so you can't really tell how they feel. I guess you've got a point. I was just imagining the cries of a happy but also dying tree. Had issues with 7s until I changed a talent for spam healing. I see. Thought they despawned. Supposedly they do. We need to, we haven't tried that yet, but I believe it. I hear that that's true. But we had been up to this point just killing them, and I think that's why we haven't been timing keys, is because we've been doing mechanics relatively well. We've been getting good practice in those dungeons, and we're getting better at them, but we're just not getting through them in time. Wanted to drop by, say happy Christmas. Thanks for your videos and DBM voice files. How do you clean the straws? Love that they're so eco-friendly. They come with a little, like a little pipe cleaner, like a little straw brush. So you just clean them with that little dish soap. Just make sure that you rinse them real good. You don't want dish soap inside of your straw. But yeah, I clean them like that. They're good. I don't know if they're actually making me a more eco-friendly person, because I'm not using them in places that I otherwise would have used a plastic straw. I suppose, like, once every second month, I'll buy like a milkshake, and then I get those without a straw, and I have like a thicker metal straw that I come home and I use instead. So in that case, I saved the plastic. But in every other case, I just otherwise would have been drinking it strawlessly, but then like spilling on myself. And I don't know, I just like the straws. Oh, okay, so this one. So that's 3. And then I'm gonna try to do something stupid. Don't mind me. 1, and then 2. I'll show you when I'm done. This is a mistake. Also, it's gonna burn. Oh, turn the fan. Oh no. Alright, well. Yeah, alright. can't really show you until I get my pan back. I don't have a camera over there. How's Apotheosis feeling? It's really good, and I don't go into Mythic Plus without it, but I probably don't use it nearly as often as I should, and when I do use it, it's usually just me being like, oh, dear me, and then I'm like, what do I do? And then I'm like, oh, Apotheosis, and I like mash around in those buttons until I find the one, because it's kind of an awkward keybind, and then I instantly lay down another Sanctify Serenity, and then I just go back to spamming. And I think that's what you do. Like, it's really just, like, it resets your holy words, so ideally they're already on cooldown. But it means that sometimes, like, I'll be looking at my bars and my Sanctify and Serenity are both, like, 8, 9, 10 seconds away from coming off. So they're just, like, a couple of casts away from being done, so it feels like a waste to use Rapture to reset them. But sometimes you really, really need it, and it's like, that's a hard call. 19 cookies, pretty close to 24. Yeah, the last one is something. Something indeed. Saving water and cleaning your clothes? Yeah, potentially. I suppose so. Originally, it was a recommendation from my dentist. He just wanted me to get the tea out of my mouth faster. It bypasses your front teeth when you do this, and I was just having issues with the acidity of the teeth, or the acidity of the tea weakening my enamel. Hazel saying, oh no, is never a good sign. You wouldn't believe the extent to which I exclaim in distress while I'm healing keys. I kind of like it. I kind of have fun trying to come up with new, clean expletives, you know, different ways of expressing oh no without swearing. Although occasionally if it's just a private group and I'm not streaming, I'll swear. But sometimes people, they're not okay, they need help. And sometimes it's an emergency. But that's what I really love about healing, is when things just like an extra group pulls, or, you know, 4 people get hit by mechanics at the same time and all of a sudden it's an emergency, but then like you're there and you can help. Maybe. Sometimes I go, I can fix this, and then sometimes I go, I can't fix that. Is my go-to. Beans. I like that one. I'll have to use that. Fiddlesticks. Cheese and crackers. Yeah. Fiddlesticks is a very good one. I like that a lot. Merry Christmas, Hazel. Merry Christmas, Cobalt. Thinking of switching from Windwalker to Mistweaver. Never played Healer. Want to try it? Mistweaver looks fun. I know somebody that absolutely slams. As a Mistweaver, fist weaving specifically. So they're in melee, they're doing damage, they're healing people in melee range. And they do so much healing. I don't know how they do it, but it seems good. Seems like a good idea. Okay. Don't mind me and my old person noises. I'm not old. And my joints aren't even that bad. I think I've just seen other people make noises when they like bend down or get up. And I've like internalized that that's the thing that you do. Like I've started grunting before the pain even showed up. Maybe I'm just jinxing myself. So that's gonna be over there. Once we've baked these, next order of operations is gonna be to get them cooled and then to get some icing made. Now I don't wanna make the icing too early because you gotta be careful with royal icing. If it dries, it hardens, and you can keep it wet after making it by draping a damp towel over it, or like a damp paper towel sometimes. But the less time I have to do that for, the better, because it doesn't have to be made like super early or anything. Let's do some more dishes. Fun. I'm kind of in a mood to just, I feel like I want a fresh start, like home-wise. Like, if I had 5 days and nothing else to do, I feel like I would just take all of my stuff and then figure out what I need and what I don't need. And then of the things that I need, see if anything like needs any maintenance, needs any cleaning. I would love to repaint some things, although given that we're renting, I'm probably not gonna bother. You know, but like some, like touch up the walls and like, you know, take everything off the counters and everything out of the cupboards and everything out of the drawers and like wipe it all down. I want to go through all my files. I want to go through like all of my computer, my files, my folders, and my documents and my cloud save stuff and just figure out what I don't need anymore. I feel like I'm dragging around a bunch of a dead weight that I don't need with just like stuff in my head. And that if I could just come to grips with everything that I have ongoing and everything that I need and don't need, then it would be kind of like a fresh start. But that kind of thing takes a lot of time. Also kind of overkill. Okay, so that was 10 minutes. What do these look like? They are, usually what I'm looking for is for the edges to start to look a little darker or like set. I'm gonna give those like another, just like 1 more minute. I made them like a little bit thick. But you don't want to, I don't like having dry gingerbread. I don't want to overdo them. In what state are you if 4 people get hit by mechanics? Is it more, oh, a fun challenge, or these censored DPS? Yeah, I'm usually running with my friends, so like I like them whether they make mistakes or not, and I'm in no position to judge because I get hit by stuff all the time. But whenever a bunch of people do it, I do enjoy a good fun. Come on, what are you doing? Did I hurt you? Have I offended you in some way? Why would you do this to your healer, Hazel? I do love a good guilt trip. Or if it's like one person, it's sometimes fun to like call out their name in like the most polite way possible and just be like, you know, I don't think you should stand in that one. Maybe, what if next time? I think maybe it'd be better for your health if you just didn't stand in just that one. 22 at heart, she said slaps. I am 28. I am confirmed no longer 22. I was 22 when I started YouTube, but that was a long time ago. Actually, I think I was 21. I was 21 when I started. But, you know, a long time ago. Okay. You know what happens. People just get older. I'm getting older, you're getting older. If you are older than me, you will always be older than me. And if I'm older than you, I will always be older than you. You never have to worry about getting old because I will always be older than you. Unless you're older than me, in which case you've got a head start. Okay. So I'm gonna take these out. I don't know what that was. And and then you see what I do? I made a lumpy stick dude. He's gonna burn. Oh well. We'll try those for like 6 minutes. Let's do like 6 minutes, and then I might try to just slide him off because he's gonna be done way before the trees. So I bet you if I can get him off the tray without breaking him, which will be a miracle. Maybe I should cut the parchment in half. He's gonna stand in the fire. Yeah, maybe that's why he's gonna get burned. Oh boy. Here's a thought. Get out of the thing. Oh, man. Yeah, no, healing doesn't make me mad at all. I don't think I've ever been frustrated with somebody else's performance, possibly because I'm blessed to run in groups of guildies. I mostly, if I'm getting tilted to healing a dungeon, it's because I'm messing up and I'm mad at myself. That gets me. Nothing tilts me more than me. But I don't really get mad at other people. Cut the paper before you put it in. Oh, it's too late for that. Give them a fake middle name when you yell at them. Look at them with that not angry, just disappointed look. Yeah, it's just so much fun when we pull through anyways. And besides, they're all really good players. I don't run with anybody that I would be like frustrated with, really. Everybody's very good. So it's just a matter of sometimes stuff happens. I only get upset when it's like me repeatedly. And even then, sometimes it's just funny. Okay. Alright, so that's recycling. I'm gonna soak this. Hang on. I still don't know what the dough tastes like. Oh, that's good. Why have I never used fresh ginger in gingerbread before? That's such a good idea. That's what's done that. That's why that's so good, is because there's fresh ginger in it. Oh, that's good. We gotta try that. If in doubt, blame the healer. People also don't like when you say nothing of value was lost when they die. No. We do nice, friendly, drama-free, no toxicity dungeons, and I like them very much. They have to be that way, otherwise I would be too scared to do them. And get tilted in PvP, but not PvE. I also will get tilted in PvP, but again, it's always at myself. I find that I very rarely will get upset with other people's behavior in video games. Sometimes messages can tilt me, like YouTube comments can tilt me sometimes. Usually if they like find just the right thing to complain about and they like hit a nerve. That can upset me, but like in game, it's only ever me. Like I get the most angry or frustrated if I know I can do better at something and I feel like I've let myself or my teammates or something down. That always gets me. Everything else is just a game. You know, everything else is fine. Okay. I mitigate that anxiety usually by kind of like underselling myself and underselling my experience so that nobody expects very much from me. So I feel like I have the freedom to make mistakes if they're going to happen without anybody feeling like I've lied to them. But the problem with PvP is that you can't really do that and expect to get into groups. You have to kind of, like, unless you're just going to do YOLO 1500 pugs all day, you have to eventually represent yourself as the player that you are, and then you just have to hope that they don't hurt your feelings later. Knife sitting blade out is giving knife sitting blade out. Knife sitting blade out. This? No, something else. It has to be something else. That knife isn't even remotely sharp. That's a dinner knife, and it's not even, like, it can't even cut bread. Alexa, thank you for the 2-month reset. Came for a wholesome vibe, staying for the very wholesome vibe. When I'm cutting food with something like this, I find that I get into trouble because I don't cut, even, like, it has like a little bit of serration on it, but I don't cut my food. I pry my food. And 99 times out of 100, it's fine. But that 1% of the time, when I'm prying my food apart, I'll misjudge the force or something will suddenly give, and then all of a sudden I have flung some food across the room. And then I know exactly what happened is because I was prying my food apart. But I see no good reason to change. It doesn't cause me problems enough for me to actually want to, like, cut food, because that sometimes makes the bad noise. I don't like the bad noise. That is an egg on my counter. I needed a room temperature egg. Still need one. I need a room temperature egg shortly for getting some icing together. Okay. Yeah, I haven't cut myself on a kitchen knife in a long time. I think the only, like, kitchen accident I ever had, I was a kid, like 12 or 13, something like that. And I had an issue when I was chopping vegetables with a finger that got in the way. But ever since then, I've been just real careful, and it's been fine. You don't want to underestimate a butter knife. That's how some piece of vegetable tends to end up in my wall every now and then. Does dyeing your hair dry out? Can, yeah. I find that I take better care of my hair because I'm dyeing it, and I know that it's a little bit more damaged than usual. So I'm very careful about like wrapping it before I go out. I sleep with it in a silk cap. I wash it weekly, and I do like a bond building, like a pre-wash condition thing for it. I'm very careful with how I detangle it, and I find that on average it stays in about the same condition it used to before I dyed it, because on one hand, yes, I do lighten it, or I have it lightened at a salon before we color it. It's not the dye that damages the hair, it's the bleach to lighten it up before you put color in. But on the other hand, because of that, I spend so much effort everywhere else that it tends to stay in about the same condition. I haven't had any issues with my hair breaking. I've been dyeing it for years. Yeah, Olaplex, that's exactly what I do. I have the entire line. I do a weekly soak with the number 3 before I wash with the shampoo and conditioner, and then I also have the number 6 as like a leave-in that I'll put on my ends when I'm styling, and that works real good. I am taking out, yeah, gingerbread boy's done. How am I gonna do this? Okay. That one's just, those two are just gone. You guys go over here. Excuse you. Oh, that is a coherent, cohesive cookie. Happy with that. I was worried they were gonna fall apart. So I just need to take off him. Not them, just him. The trees probably, I mean, they look fine, but I'm gonna give them another couple minutes. Oh no, here, okay. I'll get a drying rack under him in a moment. Those, I'll give those like another 4. Okay, and then this can go underneath here. And then that actually looks all right. That actually turned out just fine. That is a stick figure cookie dude. He's got like one very pointy hand and then one very round hand. But I'm gonna let him cool down and that should help him with his sturdiness. Although he's never gonna be sturdy. He's gonna snap in half the moment I try and pick him up. Olaplex also for men who don't dye their hair. It's not just, it's hair bond building. So you can use it on, it doesn't have to be for dyed hair. But I think there are some warnings about not like overdoing it. Like you don't want to leave it in permanently. Or just like overnight or anything like that. Because I think it can become, I think there's issues with that. But for just everyday use, real good, yeah. If you make angels and cut the heads off, you get Baby Yoda cookies. Is it better to level an alt through Fate or Storyline? I've heard Storyline is faster, but Fate's more flexible, and if you just want your Covenant ability now, then Fate's better. But I would start with the Storyline and then switch to Fate if and when you get really sick of doing the Storyline. Latest things you've been up to with your main in Shadowlands. A lot of dungeons. I've got a dungeon addiction. I keep staying up really late, because that's when people get on to do them, is they do dungeons all day, and then they do dungeons all night, and I like to go. And because it's like a social thing, usually I put a very high priority on going to social things because otherwise I will never do them. And I know that it's important for me to talk to people sometimes for my own mental health. So if I get like invited to do a dungeon or something, I always go. But right now everybody's doing a lot of them and I'm having so much fun that I'll do like 4 or 5 in a day and then like I'll stay up until midnight doing them and then I'll be very sleepy. How is Minta? She's good. She's good. She doesn't know that I was talking about maybe leaving her, but I don't think that I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to stick with Carrion. I need a dungeon guide with stick figure cookie dude. So I suppose it's about time for me to start thinking about making icing. These ones are about, they're not cool, but they're coming along great. I'm going to make sure I separate any of them that spread into each other just a little bit. For the most part, pretty good. I will show you. This is kind of what we got so far. Seems to be a perfectly good gingerbread cookie to me. And now, what is my normal thing? I keep a files folder of like screenshots and documents of my recipes, because if I just have them in my photos folder, it takes forever to find them. Christmas sugar cookies? I have like my mom's recipe write-ups in like in her handwriting that I keep them all in a little folder here. Gingerbread man, okay, yeah, so royal icing, this one. This is a Word document. Captain Dandy, thank you very much for the bits. Merry Christmas from Guam. Merry Christmas. Aren't you fully geared? Why do you need to do dungeons still? Excuse my ignorance. I am quite geared, but we're doing Mythic Plus dungeons, and there's always better gear out of Mythic Plus, although that's a statement that's true on paper and not necessarily in practice. There's not a lot of gear coming from Mythic Plus, but the item level is very good. We've been trying to push keys. Okay, so royal frosting, egg whites, cream of tartar, icing sugar. I think this will be fine. I'm going to do 1 egg white, 1/4 teaspoon cream of tartar, and then just all of the icing sugar I have. And I think this is going to turn into royal icing. Put in piping bag, decorate cookies. Oh, I'm going to need to pipe it. Oh, I hate piping. I hate it. It's not good. It's bad. I'm bad at it. That's my problem. So I don't have any piping bags, obviously. So I can do it in a Ziploc is usually the way that goes. And then it always ends up coming out the back. But that's fine. All right, so those are cookies. Those are done. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 plus a dude. I've made 18 trees plus a cookie dude. So they smell really good. I'm gonna put these over here because those are warmer. And then we don't need the oven anymore. You can just chill there. We don't need these. I don't think I'm going to use the Oreos or the chocolate chips. I'm going to put that all away. I can't think of a good way. I mean, I could maybe put an Oreo on his face and then he can be Oreo head, but then I might not own the rights to him anymore. Bowl. Because we're going to beat some egg whites is how I'm going to start with this. I like that gear's not falling from the sky now. The only problem with gear being rarer is that it can be selectively plentiful. I have gotten very lucky in that I often just get loot. I've just been loot lucky so far. Many dungeons we will fail the timer, which means there's only one piece of loot for the 5 of us, and it feels like half the time it's for me. And this can lead to some people having feelings when they're struggling to like fill a really important gear slot and they just see me out there upgrading everything. I might have leveled like 203 or something now. So when there's less loot, it means that it may not be less loot for everybody. And when there's less loot, it makes it more likely that there are outliers that are just getting nothing. Which is frustrating. Okay, so I'm gonna need the whisk. And I'm gonna need to separate this egg, which I tend to like doing just with my hands is my preferred way. Lots of ways to do it, but I like doing it with my hands. I am gonna wash my hands one more time. Oh, cream of tartar, I should make sure I get that out because I hide it because I use it for like nothing. So I never, yeah, that way back here. Way back there. Do I have a 1/4 teaspoon? I think I might. Yeah. All right. Oh, I should figure out my piping bag plan. I think I'm just gonna use like a gallon Ziploc, like a big Ziploc bag, and then snip the corner. I think that's my best idea. It'll be fine. Aren't you? Oh no, my chat's doing the thing again where it like replays chat. That's weird. I don't have any VODs of my raid healing, but I don't think you want mine. I am an amateur. If Automatic Jack has any streams, also I'm reading old chat. I'm sure this has already been answered, but if Automatic Jack has raid streams as Holy, that's the one that you want to look at. Okay, so I'll snip the corner later. I was gonna wash my hands. Yeah, the keys, Mythic Plus is super fun right now. It's very challenging once you get to the levels of key that challenge you. I suppose that's how any system works, but once you push keys to a certain point, they start to become very challenging. But then there's nothing, the most pure form of gaming joy for me is that when I encounter a challenge and then I work to overcome it. That's like the core thing that makes games fun, is when you meet something and it punches you in the face and then you get better and then you do better and you feel like not only did you play a fun game and it looked cool and it felt immersive and whatever, but you changed. You in your desk chair improved. Like your brain is better now at that one specific thing, but it like reinforces my own belief in my capacity to learn. And I like that. I'm gonna take my ring off and I'm gonna put it in this pocket and I'm gonna forget. Actually, I shouldn't put it in that pocket. That pocket has a hole in it. I'm gonna put it right by the camera. There we go. Okay. I'm not great at breaking eggs, and I never will be. Oh my gosh, that was awful. But I didn't pierce the yolk. I'll fish all the shell out. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Oh, it's weird because it's warm. So the thing with making fluffy egg whites, come on now, is that there really can't be anything else in them. So it's important to actually clean the bowl. Otherwise, they don't fluff right for the purposes this and stuff like making frothy ones for. I fold frothy egg whites into waffles and stuff. Okay, yeah, there you go. There you go. Shell. I need to restart my chat. It's replaying me stuff that I know that I saw like minutes ago. One thing I'm really excited about is because this is the last baking stream, it means that I can retire some of this equipment. This poor computer that I'm doing baking streams on, the case is hanging on by an inch of its life. Like half of the USB ports are busted. It's missing like a plate. It's not like I'm gonna keep some parts from that PC, and there's parts of it that are just ready to be retired. And I'm gonna, I think, tear down the desk, probably donate or sell some of the monitors, and then have some extra room. We were talking about, and I couldn't decide if I had decided to do it or not. I think I'll see how much room there is after we get that desk turned down. We were talking about flipping our bedroom and Mr. Nutty's gaming desk and like setting our bedroom up in the larger living room area, because it's not like we have people over. It wouldn't be that weird to have our bed out here. And as long as I could like set up curtains or something, or keep the blinds closed for privacy, it would be like having a really big bedroom. I've never had a really big bedroom before. Mara, thank you very much for the 19-month resub. Happy holidays, right back at you. I need to, I'm gonna take this moment to restart the chat. That's gonna take a minute anyways. It's hard to blend just one egg white because there's not very much, so it doesn't get a whole lot of contact with it. Sorry, I know that must be loud. That's one of those things where having it on a higher speed is really just kind of for the best. Let's do that again. Not that loud? That's what I want to hear. It's loud to me. Oh, man. So the trick with that is to beat it until it's firm but not dry. You're making it really like foamy and frothy. And then adding it back in. Have you ever dealt with loneliness while playing WoW? Nah. I have battle pets. Even if I'm playing by myself, it's usually because I like doing stuff in WoW on my own, and then I can just pull out a battle pet or like play a hunter, and then I just pretend that my hunter pets are real. Sometimes I get lonely in other parts of my life, but WoW, for the most part, not so much. So I'm gonna start. A few more minutes. Merry Christmas Eve, Hazel. Thanks for all the great streams. Wonderful guys. Great content. Thanks, Jasper. Appreciate it. Alright. I'm calling that as foamy as it's likely to get, so I'm just going to add my icing sugar. Maybe like a little bit of vanilla. Maybe just like a hint of salt. I feel like somebody has told me to put salt in icing before, and it turned out good. Let's stir that in until it's incorporated. And then we, basically, once this is mixed in, we're going to add it kind of immediately. Or we're going to pipe it pretty much right away, because it's only going to get like harder from here. So that is looking like about the right consistency, which was the danger with kind of YOLOing the ingredient amounts, was making it like either way too stiff or way too soft. Because it should be just like kind of in between. Come on, get in there. Am I going to dye it? I think I might dye the whole batch, actually, because we're making trees, and I do have green. So I think it might be kind of cute to just kind of pipe green icing onto them. I don't think I have enough to do flood icing. Like, I'm looking at like a half a cup of icing here at most. But I could maybe do like a Or I could do little dots as though they were ornaments. If I do a really fine line, I could maybe do the outline, which would make it kind of look like the book, actually. I mean, not really. The book has them flood-iced with white on the outside, but I could just do a green border and then call it a day. Yeah, Alliance apron. Also an Alliance sweater. There's Alliance logos and WoW logos going on over there, too. All right, that looks like icing. I am going to follow my dreams and dye it green. Why not? It's hard for it to really mix in good when it's just like a small amount of icing in the bottom of this thing. Okay, I'll stop now. I put a good amount of green in there. It does now look a little soupier than I thought it was, which makes me think that maybe, just maybe, I should try to, blitzing some white sugar to beef it up. Just to see what happens, you know? Not that I have a ton of white sugar, but I have some. All right, but we need to move fast because we don't want that to harden. So I'm just gonna put some of that in there. This is like the kind of blender that you make smoothies in, but it's the closest thing I have to a food processor. It's just like a spinning blade, right? Like, what else do you need? And make sure that's really closed. Snowstorm. Make sure it's not getting too warm. I don't really know how, oh dear, you're still spinning. I don't really know how, oh dear. Oh no. Oh. That's not the sound you want to hear. It looks right, but it smells like burning. Thank my Betty, thanks for giving out some gift subs. Tastes like sugar. As long as it doesn't taste like burning, right? I lost my purple. I put it somewhere. That's disconcerting. It was, oh, it fell in the sink. That's what happened. Because I need that to keep pushing the sugar into the thingy. Okay. Merry Christmas and Festivus for the rest of us. These, you know what this is? It's giving my cookies more time to cool, so it's all good. Get in there. The green's cute. It's like kind of a pastel green. I almost want it to be greener, but I know that my green dye is like a neon green and not like a forest green. So I think I'm only going to succeed in making it more neon if I keep greening it. I think it's a kind of like a Grinch, a pastel Grinch green. All right, we're going with that. I am going to, oh, came right up. I am going to whack that into a bag and try my best to immediately, before it starts to harden, pipe that onto the cookies. So you can kind of see it's like a little green. It's not as green as my sweater. I forgot to put any salt or forgot to put salt or vanilla in it, but it tastes like sugar, and that's really what icing is supposed to do. So, bag, bowl, get out of my way. Thank you very much. And then we don't have a lot of this, so I need to not waste it. Get in there. And I'm gonna need to come up with a plan that has me really only doing detail, because I certainly don't have enough to get anywhere close to flooding, and I don't think I even really have enough to do borders. I might just give them a green spot. You know how like when you're testing paint in a wall, you just kind of like put a blob, just a dab? That might be and then that's supposed to indicate that that wall gets painted that color. That might be the thing. Okay. Yeah, an extra Merry Christmas to anyone who is spending Christmas alone that didn't want to but is doing so anyways. I feel for you. It's a weird year, but I'm glad that people are staying safe. All right. So this is my least favorite part of everything. I need to get it into the corner. And then it's going to come at the ends, and it's going to get in my hands, and then I'm going to be mad. All right. Well, so I'm going to have the open end, because I think I need a little part of it to be open for air. Otherwise, it's going to be harder to move, because it's just going to be a bubble. Open end over here. I need like a flat scraper. Maybe I can use the back side of a knife. Carefully. Yeah. There's probably a safer tool than this, but I don't have it. Just carefully, you know. Yeah, get back on there. Oh, started to damage my plastic wrap a little bit. And then I'm going to snip just a pretty small corner. Usually I go for like a big snip when it comes to icing bags, because I usually go for a pretty big snip. Oh, also I guess I could roll. Ugh. Because that makes it come out faster, which makes you done sooner. But with this one, because I don't have very much of this, what am I doing? I'm going to do the blob for this guy. You can have a blob. This one can get a little border. I guess I'll just keep bordering until I think I'm going to run out, and then I'll go blob, because if I can border them, that's kind of cute. Like, this is what I've done. It doesn't look very green. Oh no, it kind of looks yellow, to be honest with you. But that was cute before I picked it up. I'll put it back down. This I think might work. I might have enough for this, actually. Now that I feel it in my hand, it might work. Okay. As long as I can keep it nice and... Yeah, there we go. Oh no, I'm not good at this angle. I can't do the upside down ones for some reason. I am right-handed. But I kind of need like a tension hand and then a drawing hand. Maybe I will run out. The important thing is that I tried. Actually, no, the important thing is that I made cookies, and that even if they're ugly, we can still eat them. And I thought I was making such a tiny little snip, and this is actually quite a wide passage for this icing. It's kind of coming out pretty fast. This is very rapidly becoming less about the tree shape and more about just slapping a triangle on there. Yeah, they're getting drastically worse as I continue. Also, I want to make sure I have something left to put on, so we're just going to blob these three. I want to have something to go on my friend here. So he's going to get two eyes. Green ones, obviously. And then like a little mouth. And then maybe I guess he's casting, so let's put some icing on his hands. He's a green mage. He's a Necrolord. And then anything extra, we're just going to add extra blobs. Extra dots to the blobby ones, because they didn't get as much icing, and they're going to feel bad about it, so we'll just Whoosh some on there. I'll show you what I've done shortly. Yeah, this worked all right. I've seen worse from me. I've seen better from other people, but you can't spend your whole life comparing yourself to other people. All right, close enough. Calling it. I will show you what I have wrought. Oh dear. Oh no. Mike, Pat, come back. The zip bag is some royal icing that we just made. ID Cooling has a series of pastel-colored case fans. Oh man. What it would be like to one day make a PC that you can be so picky about that you can make it look pretty, but in a way that you want and not just in a how many RGB lights can we put into this thing. Like a cute little pastel PC sounds so cute. As long as I could get like a, enough room to actually put some good stuff in it. So here is my tray of cookies. That as I show you very carefully so that I don't dump them into my sink. Tray of cookies. They look greener in person. This camera really washes out colors in this lighting. They're still kind of pastel, but I promise they look green. And, okay. And then this guy. Here is what we have done. Those ones are just kind of blobby because I got bored. And then he has a little, that's what he looks like. Very good. Glad that happened. Okay. Put that down. And would you look at that? It's 5 o'clock. We did a 2-hour stream. A rustic. Look okay to me. Honestly, I'm pleased with that. That's better looking than the cookies I normally make. They are normally way more scuffed than that. Dave, thank you very much for the gift subs. Very, very much appreciated. Congrats to those who got them. Also, we had a brand new sub from Eucrid, and also from Games Help Me Forget. Thanks, guys. Welcome to the Scroll Squad. Please don't drop them, I'll cry. Yeah, I like them. I think those are cute. They aren't super refined, but I was never going to make very refined cookies, and frankly, it's not important to me that they are. I appreciate refined cookies from other people, but for me, that will do. I think the steak guy's kind of fun. Right? He's ready for a rating. I am finished for today, but fear not, I will be back tomorrow. I know some of you may be busy, but if you need something to do tomorrow, I'm going to be doing my normal Friday afternoon stream. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to be up to, but we'll come up with something fun. Or at the very least, I'll be here. So I'll be normal time, same time as this stream, but normal desk gaming stream tomorrow afternoon. If you need a place to be, I shall be here. Thank you very much. If I don't see you, Merry Christmas. I hope you guys all have a wonderful and happy and safe holiday. I hope that it is magical for you guys and your families, and I wish you guys a wonderful, wonderful day.